Yeah, you can start.
Hello, my name is Dr. John N. Jaba. I am a senior neurosurgery consultant at Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. And I'm also currently, as for the date of this interview, the head of Department of Surgery of Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. I happen to be, with relevance to this very interview, the first president of the University of the Gambia Medical Students Association, acronym UniGaMSA. And I'm here to give some insight into some questions, as have been alluded by my colleagues, about UniGaMSA, about the challenges that we had at the time, and also about the relationship that existed between UniGaMSA and the management, the administration, yes, amongst others. So to start with, I just want to give a small backdrop, and I'm sure my colleagues have said that, and it's just to emphasize the point. The people only come together and form associations when there's a need, and there's a common need. The University of the Gambia, which started through its medical school, of course started with a lot of challenges, and there were so many things that were in need and that could be helpful to the medical student. So as part of the challenges that we had then was, of course, the lack of books and reading materials. So from the second cohort downwards, most people would not have books. And as a result, there was a need, to see how best we can help ourselves. So one of the reasons that made us need to come up with UniGaMSA as a medical student association was that we realized that there were a lot of challenges for the medical school, and part of it, like I said, was one, there are no books, we do not have books. Two, we were now talking about accreditation of the medical school. What does that mean when we finish our program without us being accredited? Three, there were a lot of opportunities like having to collaborate and relate with other international bodies outside. And of course, during that time, I must say that what happened was there was an association which was called METSA. METSA was the Gambia Medical and Health Students Association. So it was made up of medical students, it was made up of public health students, it was also made up of nursing students, yes. But again, in our own thought, we may be wrong, we may be right, but in our own thought, we felt that METSA wasn't meeting the demands of the medical students. And the medical students having to spend 7 years, and their realities together with the others were different. And that was the reason why we thought that there was a need to form a University of Gambia Students, Medical Students Association. And when we formed it, we were able to achieve a lot of things during the first year. Things like we were able to get 100,000 in those days. This is about 2005. GAMSEL, under their able leadership, so I can't remember his name again, but with Mr. Almamo, who was, I think, the then PRO or something. Mr. Almamo we deal with Mr. Almamo quite a lot. We were able to get 100,000 dialysis from GAMSEL, and which we were able to collaborate with Mr. Jan of Timbuktu to, for the first time, buy medical textbooks for medical students to use. And that was really a very good achievement. We were also still able to collaborate with GAMSEL and two other executives, to be able to get lab coats that are sold, for medical students. We were able also to, collaborate with other bodies and be able to commemorate other days like the African Malaria Day celebration, the tuberculosis, and things like that. So in a nutshell, it really helped us. And at that time, at the beginning, the University of the Gambia actually had a lot of very interesting associations, I would say. There was the UniGaMSA then, which was a very strong association. And there was one that was very, very interesting, which is called the MPAC. MPAC is Movement for Positive Action and Change, and this association was able to produce newsletters, almost twice a week or within a week. But it's worth noting that UniGaMSA, stood the test of time, and up to today, UniGaMSA is still very, very, very active. Now, with regards to how have our relations been in those days with administration, I would say it had been one that was a very frank, first of all, I would say that way, frank and a very cordial one. As student leaders, you are in between the administration and the students. Of course, and most of the time the demands of the students and the administration is always are not always at par. And so you as a leader are supposed to help bridge that gap. Yes, we had a lot of times, where we had a lot of, let's say arguments, would it be, as it were, not confrontation, but very strong arguments, with administration as to this is what we want, and we are not seeing this happening, or some classes, go. And at that time, it was so difficult in medical school because you don't have, the care that you have today. So today, for instance, you have a neurosurgeon, you have other people that have come, they are general surgeons. Dr. Diallo is a pediatric surgeon. You've got, those that are orthopedic surgeons. So those days, we never had that. And so we have lecturers that keep coming from time to time. And that obviously makes it very, very difficult. So yes, we do have, a lot of challenges, and we do have moments where, we obviously have to meet management and, have a lot of, very, very, very genuine discussions with them. But by and large, our relationship with the management have been very good. Regarding the like I said earlier on, UniGaMSA was not the first association in the University of the Gambia. There were several others, like UniGaMSA, I think, started before us. MPAC, of course, started before us. And like I said, in the School of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences, we had MEDSA, which is the Medical and Health Student Association, which obviously was there before UniGaMSA came into being. And of course, that means that when UniGaMSA came, they had some issues. And of course, we had some bit of bitter relations with the other schools. And people had the feeling that we have come, of course, to divide, the health, kind of the health fraternity. Because of that, there were a lot of bitter arguments, there were a lot of, bitter sentiments. But I think when I look back, I say, well, we probably knew what we wanted, and I think we went in for it. And today, UniGaMSA have grown, like I said, to stand the test of time. And most of the other associations have been naming. Some of them are not very active anymore in the university, or some of them are actually inexistent. Yeah, so I'm really very grateful to the president of the 17th Executive Council, Mr. Abubakar Dago, and the Ebul PRO, the name is Metaba, correct? Yeah, for really coming up with this documentary. Yes, UniGaMSA dated way back in 2004, 2005, and since then has achieved quite a lot. And I, being the first president, I would say that most of the things we were not even able to achieve today, in fact, have achieved it. We have worked on students at that time. We don't have electives, but we had worked on electives, and now today students are able to go for electives. In fact, they've got so much. We have worked on international associations and collaborations. Today, UniGaMSA is highly represented in IFAMSA, which is the International Federation of Medical Students Association. We have worked on, on the lecturers and things like that, where we keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And today, of course, by natural evolution, we have many lecturers, as compared to those days. And also the fact that UniGaMSA is able to organize, seminars, is able to organize conferences, able to participate in things. Just the last thing I would say, yesterday I was teaching in one of the classes, and it was a class that I kept complaining their AC wasn't working, and by the time I went there yesterday, the AC was working. So who fixed this? And the answer was UniGaMSA did. And that's very, very gratifying. So it just tells me and my colleagues that yes, what we stood for and what we built had actually not been in vain. Finally, I won't end the UniGaMSA talk without mentioning the very, very person from whose mouth came this whole idea when we were in Egypt. I'm sure my colleagues have mentioned that. And I want to take special time to express our most sincere condolences to the family of the late Sidat Robin Gomez. Sidat Robin Gomez was our classmate, and he was the one on that fateful day. I think it's the 18th of April. I'm not too sure, but I will need to ask. It was the 18th of April, 2004, 2004, I think, at Farmer Bojang's house in Gunju, around 3 a.m. in the morning, when we were all seated and talking and chatting. And it was Sidat Robin Gomez who first said, guys, don't you think we need to have a Gambia Medical Students Association? And when he said that on that day, then the debate started. And believe you me, even though I became the first president of UniGaMSA, but I was the doubting Thomas in that. I was the one that doubted that asked all the questions, that said no. Why we've got a Medical and Allied Health Students Association? Why do we need to get a Gambia Medical Students Association? You know, and of course later on, like I said, I didn't become its first president, but it was courtesy of him. Today he has not lived to witness that. Today we talk about him in blessed memory. We remember him, and we do believe with all sincerity that wherever he is having a restful moment until when we shall meet him. So that's unfortunately the sad part of the story, but we give credit to him as being the first person to talk about UniGaMSA.